Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nigma, and I'm bringing you guys the long-promised Balphagore guide. I'm sorry it's been a while. I actually wanted to get this out before Christmas ended, or before Christmas began, but I didn't get it off in time. Somebody distracted me on the night that I wanted to make it, and then I didn't make it, and then I basically went to the States for Christmas, and so I haven't been here and haven't had time to be at my computer and make this guide, but I'm back now, and I'm not going to be talking about my life. I'm going to be talking about Balphagore. So Balphagore is actually one of my favorite heroes. He's always sort of been one of my favorite heroes. I tend to love heroes that are not picked very much, and just heroes that are just really neglected or underestimated. It's hard to say if Balphagore is really viable in like really high level play. I think his problem is that his minions just die too easily when you have like the proper team reaction to a Balphagore pick. Another problem that I have with Balphagore is the way I play Balphagore, which I personally believe is the only way you can play Balphagore, is to go in the middle lane. And that's when, I don't know, it's problematic in higher level play. But what I can tell you is it's not problematic in pub play. If you are not 1800 and you want to like just to get higher MMR, just to get to like, if you're not even 1700, like by all means, Balphagore is a great hero, and it's really a hero that you can really sort of trash a pub with. And people don't think that, but you really can. And in my eyes, Balphagore is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest pusher in the game. You know, people say, you know, Torturer, people say, you know, Defiler and whatnot. But the thing that Balphagore does better than all of those heroes in pushing is that he pushes so strong early game. And, you know, Torturer has to do all this other stuff with, you know, building up items and whatnot. Defiler, really more of a late game, you know, her ultimate gets better and better. And so, you know, at level 60, I mean, sure, you can push early, no doubt about it, but it's just not the same as it is with Balphagore. And I think Balphagore is really this rare early game pushing hero. And it's what I really like about him. And he's got so much survivability, it's just ridiculous. And by the way, I apologize in advance that this replay is not really up to par. It's not really the replay that I would like to be showing you guys. I'd rather show you guys one or two replays with a really nice... Like, when I say this replay isn't good, I don't mean that I'm not going to be doing well. I am going to be doing very well in this game, but I would much rather have a game where the late game is interesting and I can really sort of highlight the points I'm going to make. Listen to what I say more than looking at what. Don't just judge off this game itself, because I do a lot of things wrong in this game. But really, when I was playing this game, I didn't think that I would be using this for a video. I thought I was just going to be playing this game. And so I'm sort of silly, you know, playing. I think I had just like reset my stats, so I was like 1500. So, anyway, I'm going to be taking the middle lane. I already mentioned that I take the middle lane with Balphagore. People, I mean, you really never see Balphagore anyway, so people aren't going to be that turned off by the fact that you're going mid. But, in my opinion, he's really not viable in the side lane, because, like I said, Balphagore is all about pushing early game, and he's not very item dependent. He needs some items, but all the items that Balphagore needs are dirt cheap. So there's no problem with money. The problem is you need to maximize your advantage quickly. And in order to maximize your advantage, you need levels. And you basically need level 7, because that's really the peak of your pushing career. And so I like to go middle lane. The downside of having Balphagore in the middle lane is you're not going to be ganking very much. And you're not going to be ganking early. You can gank a little bit later, but you're going to be a little bit late in the ganking scene. So you got to really make sure that your side lanes are capable, that your side lanes are not going to get decimated by, you know, whoever else is mid. Thankfully, in this game, they got a Flint Beastwood. Flint Beastwood, not really a big mid ganker. I mean, he can gank a little bit, but he's gonna usually sort of stay mid and farm and, you know, whatever. He's not like that big of a threat. Like if they had like a Fade or, you know, something really, you know, with ganking, the side lanes, my side lanes might be in a bit of trouble there. They have to be very careful. And one thing that I like to do when I'm playing Balphagore in the middle lane is always call missing, because as Balphagore, I am not going to be leaving the middle lane very much. I might get a bottle, I might get some runes, but I'm not really going to use the runes to gank. I'm really taking the runes because I don't want the enemy to get the runes. I want to deny him the runes, but I don't really care about them. because I just don't want him to have the extra edge for ganking, because I'm already not really going to be ganking, so I don't want him to have like a further advantage on that. So item-wise, this is the good item, the thing that I usually buy in all games, so nothing wrong here. Of course, if you're going to go mid as a melee hero, you need the Iron Buckler. I almost always get an Iron Buckler if I'm a melee hero in basically any lane. You don't need a hatchet, it's really unnecessary. Balphagore, his auto attack is, in my opinion, perfectly sufficient. You shouldn't have a very hard time last hitting, and to aid you a little bit in last hitting, you can get the Crushing Claws for the 3 strength, 3 more damage. And then I get a healing potion. Why not? In most cases, I don't even really need the healing potion, but it's nice to have. And I will use it in this game, so I definitely would say get the healing potion. It doesn't hurt, it's very cheap. There's not much else you can buy with 100 gold anyway. And if I'm mid, I usually get the health potion over tangos. I get tangos in the side lane with heroes, but I like the bottle, health potion in the middle lane. Simply because it's more versatile, gives you more HP, and you're less likely to be in a situation where you would need tangos. So anyway, pretty standard so far. Balphagore really does not have a problem, especially against somebody like Flint, because Flint is all about, you know, having a very weak auto attack early game. So first of all, I've got a ton of life. That's already, you know, first off. Second of all, I'm gaining health from walking over corpses. So I've got this passive very high regen by walking over all these corpses, picking them up. So his harassment, you can see he's trying very hard. He's spamming explosive flare on me, you know, basically for no reason. I don't know what he was trying to do here. There's really no... If I were him, I would save the explosive flare for when I summon minions or something to sort of deal with that, because area effect damage is always annoying against Balphagore. As the Balphagore. So he's trying to harass me with this explosive flare, which is really not a smart idea, because first of all, as you can see, he's barely doing damage to me, and even if he was, and you're going to see in a second, he's going to drop another flare on me. There it is. I'm just going to drink this potion, and I'm going to be at full. And honestly, even without the potion, I probably would be fine just walking over all this stuff. Although he's going to get another bottle. He got his bottle, so he's probably going to throw another flare onto me because he really hates me, but that's just dandy with me because I don't care. Because I am Balphagore and I am made of bricks and shit houses. And I'm going to be taking no damage, and yeah. So, one thing I mentioned earlier was that I'm not going to gank much, and this may surprise people because you're like, why wouldn't you gank? Balphagore is a pretty good ganker. It's not so much that he's a bad ganker as he's a better pusher. And when I say you're going to gank the side lanes, which you are, you will gank the side lanes, but you're only going to gank them sort of on your way over to push them, basically, because really that's your deal. When you're playing Balphagore, you just have to get in this mindset that the enemy heroes aren't your enemy. The enemy towers are your enemy, and you just want to really focus on that. You can see here I summoned my minions because Flint was getting a little bit too cocky, too close to me. If you can get a kill early game, by all means you can. Sometimes the ranged heroes, they'll get sort of cocky, they'll be in your face, because I don't really harass them, I focus on last hitting, because really I don't care about them. I'm not going to try and harass them. If I'm going to kill a hero, I can basically kill them from full life to 0, as this guy does pop his invis, so I can't get him, unfortunately. But they'll get cocky because I won't be like trying to kill them, and so they'll sort of get in my face, and then at that point I can turn around, summon all my minions, begin, you know, the regurgitate, and you'll see basically any hero really up against you, Balphagore mid, unless they're a strength hero, they're gonna go down very fast because your minions do a crap ton of damage. And so really what I'm waiting for here is I'm waiting for level 7. Because really at level 7 is when shit is going to hit the fan. You can see here he's sort of in this awkward position where he can't walk up the ramp. So I'm going to go and chase him. And now here, see what I'm doing wrong? I'm hitting them one by one, and so I realize what I'm doing wrong. You got to move the minions up in sort of a bunch, and then you got to swipe him at once. Because the slow that the minions apply, it goes away after like a second. So the best way to maximize the slow is to sort of micro your minions so that they're sort of in a semicircle around the hero, and swipe him once with all the minions, and then move up again and swipe again, and then just keep doing that over and over to maximize the slow, and you'll be surprised of the slow that comes out. Unfortunately, he did get a haste rune, so I was unable to kill him, but if that had been illusion, double damage, or anything that's not invis or haste, I would have killed him, no question, no problem. So Balphagore can really, if you're lucky, you can kill people. and that's great, you know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, killing the guy in the lane, but it's not your goal, it's not the main thing. It's like so much the better if you can, but as you can see here, I'm 6, I'm gonna hit 7 soon, and that's where the fun is gonna start. And another great thing about having Balphagore middle lane is that the enemy hero, he will often gank, and what it means when he ganks, you're probably thinking, well, why would I want him to gank my side lane? That's a bad thing. It's like, yeah, it is a bad thing, but it also means that he's not going to be here. He's going to be in the side lane, and the minute he leaves, I can take full advantage, because unlike other heroes, I'm an early game pusher, and all I need is like level 7 to be a really damn good pusher. So if he leaves the lane for even just like a minute, I can completely capitalize by taking out his tower. So I've been very passive up to this point, and now you're going to see I am level 7. He's going to get this rune, I believe. I'm not doing a good job of getting the runes, I will say this. I don't think I'm paying enough attention. I think I realized that he's like going for the rune. I'm not looking at the watch. As I said, I was very brain dead this game. But look at that, he's ganking the bottom lane. So if I'm not mistaken, I tell my team here that I believe he's going the bottom lane. Be careful. It's always good to point out when the middle lane leaves, tell your lane that he's ganking, make sure they're careful, ping the map, tell them to get back, because you're not going to be ganking, so the least you can do is tell them that he's ganking. So you're going to notice I do have the Blood Chalice now. It's usually uncommon to get Blood Chalice if you're going to get Bottle as a middle hero, but just like Pebbles and stuff, you really need the Blood Chalice. It super synergizes with Balphagore's, you know, Regurgitate, which already gives you life back through the corpse conversion and the corpses it summons. And so he was gone, and so now I'm going to slowly begin working on this tower, although I am going to start attacking Flint Beastwood just because he's totally underestimating the damage that my minions do, because it really is quite fantastic. And I'm just going to go sort of balls to the wall. I noticed that, yeah, he's very low, and not really behavior that I would encourage, actually, because that was rather risky, but and you know, like I said, you want to focus more on getting the tower than killing the heroes, especially in sort of a tower dive situation like that. So I wouldn't really recommend what I just did, but I did it anyways, and I did capitalize off of it. And it's nice because he had been out, you know, ruining me, so it's nice that I now have this advantage over him. Because the squishier the heroes are, the easier they are for Balphagore, because really early game he's just such a god, it's just ridiculous. And I'm probably going to show you guys another replay at the very end where I basically get like 3 or 4 man ganked in the middle lane and I just like completely kill everybody, because Balphagore, his minions just deal so much damage. People ask me like, why do you think Balphagore is a better hero than Keeper of the Forest, who can, you know, jungle better and, you know, push better and stuff? And I tell them his minions are better because they're on such a low cooldown, they're spammable, they deal more damage than Treant's, Keeper of the Forest's minions. And look at this, I'm just going to be melting this tower. There's nothing this Flint can do besides throw in a flare and try and deny it. Luckily he will fail. And you know what? I am going to just keep pushing. I don't care about this Flint Beastwood. He's basically just like a fly, like on the wall. He's just sort of insignificant to my push. Like, his flare is annoying, sure, but I can just summon the minions back, and it's not like I'm going anywhere. I mean, he's not going to put out enough damage to kill me. I'm going to throw down Regurgitate, of course, for the corpses. You want to have, you know, the full 12 charges when you're pushing, else, you know, don't bother. Another thing I want to talk about, I usually max Regurgitate alongside, obviously you level Corpse Conversion first, max it at level 7. Some people get Pathogen over Regurgitate. They get 1 rank of Regurgitate and they get the rest in a Pathogen. I don't do it that way. I get, you notice here I'm going to block him in. Look at that. Look how fast he drops. I like to max Regurgitate and only get 1 rank of Pathogen if I feel they have a hero who has a channeling ability that I need to stop. In this case, they have a Pandemonium. So I'm pretty sure I just got this. 1 to stop Panda's ult, and 2 to stop Flint's ult. I think that's actually the reason I got it, because, you know, Flint Beastwood's money shot at rank 1, it is like a 1.7 second channel, so you can throw in the Pathogen when he's, you know, casting his ult, and it can actually really throw him off if you're in melee range. It's really quite funny, so I think that's the reasoning, but usually I get Regurgitate first, and here's why. People don't get it. They say, you know, why would I want the same amount of damage with no silence when I can have, you know, the same amount of damage with silence. I tell them it's because I play Balphagore as a pure pusher, and being able to deal lots of area of effect damage onto an enemy creep wave is very nice and handy because it really screws up the creep wave and lets you push easier. And for that reason, I really don't care too much about Pathogen early. And Pathogen is a great ability, but since I'm not really focused on ganking and I'm not trying to kill heroes, I am trying to kill towers, I am going to be going for the area effect damage. You'll see I killed the second tower without even being there, because who cares, right? And I'm finally going to get a rune, thank God, you know, pulling myself together now a bit. I got regeneration, so I'm going to push this top lane, and now that I'm pushing the top lane, it doesn't really matter which one I go, top or bottom, doesn't matter. Always go for the outer towers first, obviously, unless I can blitz the second tower here. I blitz this because this team is not organized. They're not very good, so if you notice that they're not organized, you can get the second tower middle if you're fast enough. Usually I wouldn't really recommend it, but in this case it really did pay off. And basically I'm just gonna maul everybody because my damage output is ridiculous. The minions hit like trucks. My ultimate is on such a short cooldown. It's like, you know, it's unmissable, just a giant AoE of damage. It's very nice. You know, Regurgitate has a much larger range than some people like to believe. It goes very far. So really I have so much damage output, so much pushing capabilities. I'm just gonna melt this tower, no problem. If there's no heroes around, the tower is yours. You can do it by yourself. You don't even need allies. It's super easy. And the pushing power is just retarded. So let me talk about the items a little bit here. Usually in almost every game I play, I will get Ring of the Teacher. I didn't get it this game for no reason really. I'm just playing a pub game and I'm just being stupid. You should get a Ring of the Teacher, really just for the armor on your minions. As you can see, this Monkey King for some reason is, I guess, AFK. I don't know. I'm not going to deny, like I said, that this team that I'm playing against is not very good or just, you know, whatever. But anyway, usually you get Ring of the Teacher because your minions, they really benefit from the armor, and of course, you know, just all the creeps, they benefit from the armor. It really makes pushing a lot easier. Obviously, plated greaves really increase your pushing power like tenfold, because basically your minions which already destroy, you know, enemy creeps with no problem, they take even less damage, so they dish out even more damage with plated greaves. I do believe the buff increases their base damage, and then they'll just take no damage from the enemy creeps because of the plated effect. You know, these people are trying to stop me pushing, but it's just like not possible. But I mean, the MK is just terrible. But anyway, like I said, usually I would get a Ring of the Teacher. As you're gonna see, I'm just gonna pick up Axe of the Malphite because I'm just like, whatever, this game is basically already won. You see, again, I did what I told you not to do. I blitzed the second tower here, really only because this team is terrible. If this team was any good, I would probably, once I get this tower up top, I would move down to this tower. As a general rule of pushing, you always want to go for the outer towers first, unless you're very confident, because they're easier to get. And every tower you get, your team will get 200 gold. So you really want to sort of, it keeps the, how should I say, it keeps the fire burning. It's like, sure, I could, you know, try and get this other tower, but it's harder. But this way, I'm sort of feeding my team like 200 gold every, you know, it's like a steady stream of income. And, you know, Balphagore is a great hero and he's great at pushing, but he can't win a game by himself. I've played games where I will have pushed like all the outer towers. I've gotten all 6 down, and I'll still lose the game because my team is just really bad, and they can't capitalize off the fact that I've been killing all these towers. But you know, that's not your job. It's not your job to carry as Balphagore. If your team can't, you know, if they're not up to the challenge to, you know, capitalize off all this free gold that you're giving them, then, you know, it's really their loss, and it's not your fault. So that's really all there is to it. As for items passed, I usually obviously would not get heart right away. In fact, I usually would not even get Axe of the Malphite in any serious game, really. Sure, Balphagore can, you know, benefit from having a lot of strength. I like to get something more realistic, Shaman's Headdress, or definitely just Mystic Vestments early in the game. Possibly Nullstone, possibly some other items. But I'm actually going to open up another replay now, where I don't even remember if I win the game, but it's definitely a replay. The beginning is worth looking at, so I'm just going to open up that right now. And I'm back. This is a similar game. This time I'm on the Hellborn team, and basically same deal. This time these guys are good. They're not crap. And the reason I know they're not crap right from the start, right out, coming out of the gates, is because they have a Demented Shaman mid. You're probably thinking, like, what's the deal? Why would you have a D-Sham mid? Well, he's a really nice counter to Balphagore, because basically if my minions are fighting the creep wave, you can just nuke the creep wave, and then my minions will just get completely stomped. And of course it goes through the Plated Greaves effect. So if you're ever up against a Balphagore mid, I definitely suggest something like this, or even just a more conventional pick like Torturer. You know, really Torturer is a pretty nice pick because, you know, first of all he's got all the area of effect damage to take care of your minions, but he can also just counter push you pretty easily. And any hero that's good at pushing is good at counter pushing. You know, Defiler, Polywog Priest, stuff like that. We do end up losing this game. I mean, you know, this might not be the best game ever, and I probably do make some mistakes, but I largely attribute losing this game to the fact that the carries are not very competent. This is like a 1500 game, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really care, but like I said in the other game, if your team can't, you know, capitalize off the fact that you're going to be taking all these towers and getting all this bonus gold, then there's really nothing you can do, and it's not your place to, you know, to try and do anything about it. You don't think like, okay, I got to carry this game. I'm going to go carry Balphagore. I'm going to get like a mock or something. That's stupid. Just don't even do that. There's no reason to. If you lost the game because your carries are incompetent, you're going to lose it anyway. No use in trying, really. So this time, this D-Sham is going to make it quite challenging for me. I'm probably just going to fast forward through this a bit. But as you can see, he's getting cocky again, like I said in the other game, because he's just like, he's counting on the fact that I'm going to be very passive because I'm the melee hero and I don't have a lot of burst damage, and my spells that deal damage are sort of tricky to pull off. I have to, you know, micro my minions. He's not really counting on that to be used offensively, but it's really something you can do. It's very situational. Like I said in the other replay, you don't have to be aggressive as Balphagore, absolutely not. But if the opponent gives you an opportunity, you should definitely capitalize off it. You should definitely try and kill him. As you can see here, unfortunately I don't have my Blood Chalice yet, but he's really getting very cocky. You know, he does have some mana, so I'm going to get my Blood Chalice first. Again, you don't need to get a bottle in the middle lane as Balphagore. You can, but it's more important that you deny the enemy's runes than really you using the runes yourself. And the reason I actually don't get a bottle isn't so much because bottle, it would be a terrible choice on Balphagore, but I think the other items that he could get in exchange for bottle, such as Ring of the Teacher and Plated Greaves, getting those a bit faster I've found to be more effective, because you know, by the time I have all those items, obviously I don't need a bottle anymore. So it's really not a case of the bottle being a bad item for Balphagore so much as the other items are more important. And Blood Chalice really gives you all the mana you need, so not a big deal. As for items beyond the early game, so I would definitely say the core items definitely be the Chalice, Ring of the Teacher. You don't need to upgrade it into an Abyssal Skull. There's really no point, because you don't benefit from Abyssal Skull. If you have someone on your team who benefits from Abyssal Skull, go for it. Otherwise, not really worth it. Your minions only get very little damage from it, less than Plated Greaves actually. And the lifesteal on the minions, I mean, really, it's like peanuts. Shit's for the birds. If your team has somebody, like in this case, a Scout and a Mage Bane, if they weren't terrible and I had no faith in them, then if I did have any faith in them, I might get Abyssal Skull. Unfortunately, they are terrible, so not going to bother. I don't think it even really came to that choice in this game. I'm going to get off to a pretty good start, considering the fact that I'm up against Demented Shaman, but it's not really going to get to that point. But otherwise, Plated Greaves, Ring of the Teacher, Blood Chalice, and then Vestments. I would really get Vestments quickly. For some reason, some people think Helm of the Black Legion is good on Balphagore. It's really not. I mean, you need the Iron Buckler. But honestly, Balphagore has so much HP, it's really sort of... I mean, you can, but by the time you're going to get it, because really you got to get all the items that I previously mentioned, you got to get those first. So really, I wouldn't really get Helmet Black Legion in any situation, unless the team is really very physical based and the magic armor from Vestments really won't benefit me at all, which I can't really imagine because you always need magic armor. But Mystic Vestments, very important, very cheap, very cost effective, and it really helps you out in the mid game where the people will actually start, trying to stop you. So I will finally kill Demented Shaman here, really with the help of my ult. It's very hard to get kills before you hit level 6 as Balphagore because your ult is really what you need to finish the people off, else they're just going to be running away. Beyond Mystic Vestments, you of course can upgrade them into a Shaman's Headdress. I usually do. It really is worth it. The HP regen is nice, even in the mid game. After that, it's really situational. You get what you want. Just look at what's sort of annoying you. And you can see this Midas is just getting really cocky, but you just notice that my minions are just chipping away at him. And look at this. I'm just going to use the Regurgitate. I'm going to heal myself back up, and I'm just going to walk away. And just the fact, let's just go back and look at that again. How strong is Balphagore? I've got like no mana, I'm at half life, and sure this guy's level 4 and I'm level 7, but it's just like, look at this HP loss. Unfortunately, I'm not microing them perfectly because I'm being chased, and there's just not enough damage to kill me. I've got so much life, and I'm outputting all this damage, and even Demented Shaman is going to have to back off here. If someone's ganking you, I really urge you, I don't care how hectic the situation is, you need to micro your minions onto the enemy because they're going to be chasing you for a long time. And not only is the slow useful, but you'd be surprised how many times people just they're focused on killing you and they won't realize that like there's 4 minions just chewing away on them like you saw in that Midas, and especially early game against these fragile ranged intelligence heroes. You can really make stuff happen, and you can really kill them a lot quicker than you would think. And even Demented Shaman, a hero who not only is very good against Balphagore, but just has a lot of survivability. You'd be surprised how you can catch these heroes off guard and just sort of burst them down on a hero that isn't even really known for burst damage. So yeah, concluding, Balphagore, really great pusher. Not very great. Not super great in the late game, but he's also not weak. One thing I should also mention about his Pathogen, use the activatable on the second activation on Pathogen. As you know, when you hit the button again, the silence spreads to all the heroes around. So in team fights, it's just really underrated, and it's basically what you are in team fights. Because later in the game, your minions are going to be relatively useless. I'm going to say they're very nice if no enemies around, but it's just not realistic. You're going to have enemies around you. So your minions are going to be great. Your Regurgitate's not going to be doing a lot of damage. It's really about your silence and your ultimate. Your ultimate is a no-brainer. Get to 80 charges and then use it. Pretty simple. But Pathogen is really so nice because you can silence so many enemy heroes with it. So sometimes I'll just use the second activation right away. Just use it on somebody, an enemy hero that's sort of in the middle of the fight, and then just pop it because you really want to silence as many people as possible. Unless, of course, they have somebody who you really need to silence who has priority, like a Tempest who doesn't have a shrunken head and just for some reason positioned near you. But that's about all there is. Items beyond the final item that I would say is probably core of Mystic Vestments. Shaman's Headdress. I would say everything else past that is quite situational. Nullstone is definitely viable in my opinion. How could I forget? Soul's Bulwark, of course, Demonic Breastplate. It's funny, in any other sort of physical pushing here, you would think, you should get this, right away, but, there's so many, small items you need for Balphagore to be really effective. The Plate of Greaves, Ring of the Teacher. I do a better job with itemization this game. Unfortunately, I did have to get some Wards of Sight because my team wasn't really warding. So, this is already a lot of items that I have in my inventory, so it gets pretty crowded. I suppose you could get Soul's Bulwark before Mystic Vestments, but really at that point, you've already sort of gone through the outer towers, and, towers are really easy for Balphagore. They're so easy, in fact, that I don't even think you need the Soul's Bulwark. I would rather go with some survivability. If you want, you can get the Soul's Bulwark after the Shaman's Headdress. But really, what I usually do is I upgrade the Shaman's Headdress into the Barrier Idol. Because really late, because by the time you get that, by the time you've got the Mystic Vestments, The middle game is sort of slowly reaching the late game, and so I really want to be more useful in team fights rather than pushing, and so I really like having the barrier idol so then I can output a lot of area of effect damage with my ultimate, and then also shield a lot of incoming magic damage with the barrier idol, and it just turns Balphagore into a very nice, you can sort of transcend him from a pusher into a very nice team fighter with, got the area effect silence, area effect ultimate, absorbing damage. It's very nice. And as you can see here, I got the middle tower here. I'm playing a lot sort of smarter than I did in the other game. I'm not going to blitz this tower. Instead, I'm going to move onto the side towers, as I should. Unfortunately, this enemy team, I got to hand it to them. They're doing very well. They're responding to me. If you're ever up against a Balphagore, you gotta TP to the towers when he gets there, because if he is unchecked, he's gonna get that tower, no problem. You saw it in the other game. If you don't respond, you're gonna get those towers melted. So this team, hats off to this team. They did a good job of teleporting in, ganking the crap out of me the moment I went into the side lanes. I mean, really, there's nothing they can do for this first middle tower. I'm gonna get this tower basically unless I'm having a really shitty game. But the side towers, you really need to defend them if you're up against Balphagore. But as Balphagore, the best you can do is just avoid a fight where you know you're going to lose, move on to a different tower. The enemy's going to run out of TPs eventually. You just got to kind of outmaneuver them. Walk to one tower, and then if they respond with teleporting, then you can teleport to the other tower, and then try and get that one. Really, your goal is to get towers, not to team fight, not to get kills. So be careful, don't die, because Balphagore, like I said, the thing about heroes that are good in the early game is that if you sort of spoil your potential advantage in the early game, you're gonna really drag on later. So here, straight out of the box when I resurrect up, I'm gonna teleport top, and I know that they had just TP'd bottom, so there's probably not gonna be much of a response. As you can see, melting this tower with very little help. They are gonna come and stop me here, sort of, but I'm still gonna get the tower, and mission accomplished. And I'm gonna try and get out of here. I think I do get out of here. I'm not sure. All right, Mage Bane comes. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Like I said, if you're a low player, try Balphagore. It's really nice if you have one friend to carry for you, and just tell him to sit in a lane, play defensively, and farm. Because then, every tower you get is 200 gold for your whole team. So on that note, play with somebody who's good, a decent carry, and play aggressively for towers with Balphagore if you can. And yeah, play smart. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this guide. And hopefully I'll have another video coming out soon with Comely, another HoN episode. So look forward to that. And subscribe and follow me on Twitter.